Hey, didn't see you there. I'm Chrissy. Welcome to my channel. Here are some top tips for studying. Get excited. Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about some of my top study tips. So, just to give you some background, I'm Chrissy. And I finished year 12 2 years ago, so I graduated in 2019 and I had an ATAR of over 99, and I have also been tutoring since then, so I tutor lots of different subjects including like English and maths, so I do know how hard it is, but I'm here to give you some advice, so hopefully it helps. Let me know. So my first and most important one, make a plan. You need to make sure that you're on top of all your deadlines, everything like that, and that you have time, like you give yourself time, otherwise you're definitely not going to be able to perform at your best. So my advice for this is at the start of every month I would print out like a monthly calendar, and so in that I would put in like all your big deadlines, if you have any exams, quizzes or assignments, things like that. So I put in the really big deadlines and then like highlight them, whatever. And then after that, I would come in with some smaller deadlines that you want to set yourself. So like, for example, I knew I had an exam for maths. I might set myself, make sure you finish a practice exam like 5 days before, something like that. Or if you're working on an assignment, I might like one of the deadlines I might set is like make sure I finish the introduction by this date and the body of it by this. So then obviously you have enough time to edit and things like that. So I find that like setting out all the tasks that you have really helps, because like you can see it in front of you. You can see how much time you have for each one, and it's also like not as overwhelming, because when you have all the deadlines like running around in your mind, it's just crazy. I get it. So once you've done that, as like a more day-to-day approach, what I usually do is at the start of the day I write a list of all the things that I want to get done that day, and obviously you can break it into small things. It doesn't have to be a massive like I need to finish the assignment. It's more like I want to have planned out my assignment, or I want to do an hour of research, or I want to finish my introduction, something like that. And once you've listed out the tasks that you want to do that day, then I would start ordering them. So it depends on the person. I like to do it in terms of my priorities. So like if maths is my weakest subject, maybe I want to do that in the morning so that I can really focus on it. Or if I have an assignment that's due in a couple days, obviously I'm going to start focusing on that one, because it's more like arguably more important in that time. So once you've like kind of prioritized your list, you have like a clear structure of what you actually want to do during that day. Sometimes I like to give myself time guidelines so that I don't get like too caught up on some of the like tasks that you do. So like you don't want to spend 2 hours on something if it's only meant to take like 40 minutes. So I give myself a guide. It's not like a hard and fast rule. It's just like, let's try complete this in an hour or half an hour, whatever. So it just gives you a guide. It's not like it has to be done. It's just, if it's not done, it's alright. Like just take a breath and see, like evaluate how much longer you think it's going to take. Okay, so once you've done that, you've prioritized your list, then I would set out like times that I actually want to study for. So usually I do it in like an hour and a half or 2 hour blocks, and I give myself like a half an hour break in between those. That's just what works for me. I know that a lot of people find it difficult to focus for that long, so maybe you do things in 20-minute chunks and then you have a 5-minute break, you know, things like that. Saying that, if you are going to have like more often but shorter breaks, I think that it's definitely important, because I know that for me, like if I go on my phone when I'm supposed to be having a break, I just end up scrolling on TikTok like for ages, and then you thought you were supposed to have a break for 5 minutes, oops, been 40. You know, like it's not really ideal if you're trying to get a lot done in your day. So just be really mindful if you are going to go on your phone during your breaks. Yeah, maybe like set an alarm on your phone, something like that, so that you can actually really be productive, because I want you to do well and I know that you do too. Okay, so that's mainly like how I would structure out the big picture stuff, so monthly calendars and then daily things like just writing lists, prioritizing, and then set like some time guidelines for yourself. And obviously have breaks, very important. So I think going on from that, it is really important to plan your time, just because I find that when I know something has to be done by a certain time, I'm going to be a lot more productive. Because if you're like, oh, I have a week to do it, like you're just going to put it off. You might sit down, try to do it, but you're only going to write like a heading, because you know at the end of the day, like it doesn't really matter if you get it done or not because you have more time. But if you do set yourself these guidelines of like, I want to get my introduction done in 45 minutes, well, then you actually have to hold yourself more accountable, because you've set a guideline and it's not just like, oh, it's due next week, doesn't matter. Well, no, like I said, I want to be done the introduction today, so that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely think like setting guidelines and things like that helps you to be more productive, and that's the aim, right? I mean, sometimes. Okay, and this is more of like a broader one, because I know studying is boring, but if you make studying a habit or a routine, it's going to become so much easier to sit down and actually do it. Like, I can't stress this enough, but the first couple of times that you try and sit down and actually really study and focus are so much harder. Like, it is hard. I know you're gonna be thinking about, oh, I just want to go on TikTok, like, oh, maybe I should like clean my sock drawer, I don't know. But once you get over those first couple of times and you keep doing it and you keep holding yourself accountable, then it becomes so much easier in the long run. So I hope that helps to motivate you for the first few times that you're actually trying to study. Just note that it will get a lot easier. Really, my third tip is just try and clean like your desk or the area that you're studying, because like personally my desk is not that clean, but it does really distract me, and it's definitely not ideal. So I do think that having a nice area that you're comfortable in, that you're not going to have to get up every 2 seconds, you don't feel overwhelmed because it's all cluttered and things like that, is going to make it so much easier for you to actually focus on what's in front of you, rather than being like, oh, maybe I should clean this, you know what I mean? That's just kind of like a overall advice. Okay, and tip number 4. I know that if you have like a big assignment or something that's due, it can be like overwhelming when you look at all the different things you have to do. But what you need to do is you need to break it down into small sections. Even if that's just like, I want to read over the assessment notification. Good, that's something you've done. Great job. Okay, and then maybe the next thing is, I want to plan, like I want to brainstorm what ideas I want to use for this essay. Okay, great. And then the next one could be like, I want to research some quotes, like if it's an English essay or something like that, but just small chunks. Like, you don't have to sit down and write a whole essay. Like, sit down, try and write a plan for a body paragraph if that's too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, just small bits, and then it will all come together. Fingers crossed. Okay, and once again, have breaks. Well, I don't know, like sometimes when you're caught, like when you're really in the zone, especially if you're writing an essay or you're doing maths or something, like just keep it up, like go until you are like, you know, you're getting more distracted, or you just feel like you're just not being as productive. But if you're really in the zone, even if that's for like over an hour, amazing, good for you. But if you are finding it hard to sit down for that long, then yeah, once again, like I said, just try, sit down, do something for 20 minutes, and then get up, walk around, and do it again. It gets easier, I promise. So my last tip is just kind of a general one, but probably a little bit more focused on, like, for exams. So my advice is pay attention during class. I'll say it again. Pay attention during class. Because if you don't, you literally make your job and your workload like twice, 3 times as much, because you already don't understand what's going on. It's a different thing, like if you're paying attention and there's a couple of things that you need to go over because they didn't really make sense in the moment, that's fine. But if you get distracted during class, you're talking to friends, like you make your life a lot harder in the long run. So yeah, make sure that you're paying attention during class. And my biggest tips, especially if you know like you have an exam for that subject, what I would recommend doing is during class, so that you make sure you're paying attention, you actually take some notes of like what the teacher's saying. It doesn't have to be every like word for word, but just like the main ideas, some good examples that you might be able to use in the future, like quotes or methods of how to solve something depending on the subject, obviously. But yeah, take some notes during the class. And then after that class, I don't care if it's like that afternoon, the weekend, whatever, make sure you go over those notes and that you actually understood the concepts and ideas that you were exploring in that class. Because if you understand what's actually going on in class, then you're not going to have to relearn it later when there's an exam coming up. So instead, when you know that there are exams coming up, you don't have to relearn it. You can just start doing active revision, like start doing practice papers, start writing paragraphs, whatever. Like doing things under time conditions are so important. I would definitely recommend that. So those are kind of like my top tips just for overall study. I can make more videos going into greater detail, like for HSE study or for different subjects and things like that, if that would be helpful. So yeah, just going over that again. Write out a plan, get your calendars, prioritize it all, make studying a habit. Enough said. And then have like a clean workspace area so that you don't get too distracted. 4th tip would be break it down into smaller, manageable chunks that you can actually get satisfied because you were able to complete a part of your assignment or some part of your study. Like, that's satisfying. You should be proud of that. It's good. And then 5th one, pay attention during class so that you don't sabotage yourself in the long run. I mean, it's not sabotage, but you definitely do make it harder for yourself if you don't do that. I hope that that was somewhat useful. Let me know, like, if you have any questions about what you're doing or anything like that, and I will try and answer those for you. Good luck with studying. It's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun. You're gonna love it.